Want me to start?
First of all, in your very good keynote this morning, we've seen lots of other possible languages for the Java virtual machine. And of course, Ruby was missing under this. At least you mentioned it. And the question is, what are the plans at Sun? What kind of support could you give to a language like Ruby to make it flourish on the Java virtual machine?
I think that we are, to be completely honest, quite opportunist. There is a lively ecosystem of dynamic languages out there. We could name the names, but we all know who they are. And I'm not smart enough to predict which will succeed and which will fail, and I don't think Sun is smart enough either. So, so for almost any dynamic language project, we will happily donate a server or something like that if you need a server. If we hear reports about problems in the Java technology that are getting in the way, that's serious. Those would be addressed. I think we have officially adopted the Rhino JavaScript implementation for Mustang, simply because JavaScript is everywhere now, when you look. We have hired a couple of people to work on JRuby. So those two, we have actually done something, official to support. The next most interesting languages for me, speaking personally, would be Groovy and Python.
What I'm wondering is, you did a lot of work with XML and things like that, and I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, about your keynote, because it mainly talked about more like Java-oriented and deep down things, especially dynamic languages that we've been talking about. So I'm actually wondering what the focus of your job is. Is it really about caring about dynamic languages and what to do with the Java platforms in these terms, or what is it?
Well, my title is Director of Web Technologies, and as far as I can tell, everything that Sun sells is a web technology. So I'm quite independent. I work relatively independently, and my job is really to watch the world, to see what because developers are so important to Sun. So my job is really to watch the world of developers and see what's happening, and then go shout at Sun internally saying, look at this is where the developers are going. And also, on the other side, when Sun does something smart, to come back and tell the developers about it. I also do some direct technology contributions around Atom and around file system I/O performance, believe it or not, and some things like that.
What's your take now on let's say, the syndication formats? Have you seen, what sort of outlook do you see for Atom, or even for RSS and or Atom?
Right. Okay, so RSS is the world's most successful application of XML. It's immensely, hugely successful. And RSS, for simple human-to-human news-oriented blog feeds, is perfectly satisfactory. It doesn't work very well for me because I like to write about XML and use XML syntax characters in my titles, and so that blows us RSS readers. So the Atom syndication format is getting pretty good uptake. All the major blogging engines now support it, not all by default, but some are starting to support it by default. But the interesting part of Atom is actually the publishing protocol. Can I talk about that a little bit? That's sort of my main technical issue these days. So the publishing protocol is an incredibly thin, very simple layering over HTTP to allow pushing anything, words, pictures, movies, sound, onto the web. And what's astounding is that we don't have a good protocol for doing that. The closest thing is WebDev. But WebDev is the implementations are shaky, and the problem is what we want to do is we want to empower everything, starting with these things, to be publishing platforms. And so the big trick about Atom is if you want to put something new on the web, you don't have to say its name. You just say, here's the app, here's the text, or here's the bits for the picture, and the server comes back and says, okay, here's where I put it. Here's the URL where I put it. So the server owns all the problems of managing the server side. It's much better division of labor. So the dream of Atom is easy to understand. Every cell phone, every camera, every spreadsheet, every word processor, every browser should have a publish button. It should be file save, file publish, and everything should be publishing enabled. And there's no, so Atom is the protocol to underlie that. And I think it's going to work. Google's implementing it. Nokia started to implement it on the handsets.
Is Amazon doing it for S3?
Yeah. There's for Atom? No, I don't think they're using Atom for it. They're using a REST API for S3.